I think holding him out was the right call. And obviously they didn't really appear to have much of any struggles going on this week. So it definitely was the right call. Hopefully he's healthy and ready to go for that Packers game on the 10th.
All right, Lou, you had an opportunity to see this up close and personal in this game. Of course, all of the drama surrounding A.J. Brown all season long. The Eagles come out and, to Breland's point, run for damn near 300 yards against the Giants.
Yes. Listen, Saquon. I don't care how good A.J. Brown, you can talk Devonta Smith, but the Eagles are going to repeat if Saquon can run, and they need him to run like he did last week. Second play from scrimmage, he's already got more yards than he's had the last 5 weeks combined practically. That's what they need. Alone Saquon's there. A.J. can do whatever he wants. Go read a book, A.J. Saquon's back.
And Mike, to that point, and I know that obviously you're not in that locker room, but when you've got a star wide receiver who appears to be on social media clamoring for the ball, but then he sees what the team does out there on the field, even when he's not even in the game, does that send a message potentially to a star receiver?
Yeah, it's funny because I think of all the wide receivers I've covered in Dallas who you might say love drama. Michael Irvin, Terrell Owens, Des Bryant. So it's not unusual for a wide receiver to talk a little bit and complain when he's not getting the ball as often as he should. In terms of sending a message, I don't know about that. As Lou said, the Eagles are going to be as good. They're going to go as far as Saquon takes them ultimately. But I think, A.J. now is suddenly saying all the right things from the latest I heard anyway about wanting to be with his football team and helping this football team. So I think he'll be just fine.
Yeah, and from that perspective, I don't know whether or not, I can't say whether A.J. Brown received the message or not, but I do believe that that team as a total did send a message. I mean, you hear Jalen Hurts talk to Tom Brady about throw all the stats out of the window. The key is winning the game. This Philadelphia Eagles team, we lead this show just about every week with them and the drama around them, yet somehow they're sitting at top of the NFC East and, again, a Super Bowl contender. So A.J. Brown, whether you're listening or not, this team has what it takes to get it done with or without you. All right, the other team in that mix, the New York Giants. Lou, it was just a couple of weeks ago with Jackson Dart and Cam Skattebo. It looked like maybe this thing was turning all the way around for this entire organization. Not only do they lose, but they lose Cam Skattebo to a gruesome injury. Has this fairy tale reached its end?
Well, it took a hit, a really bad hit. I mean, that kid was he was the energizer. As much as I love Dot, Cam was the energizer. He was the guy that got them going, the excitement, banging his head against the wall. And when he went out, you saw it, Dot deflated, and the team deflated, and there really was no juice. And it's going to be hard. It's going to be hard to replace him. I mean, Tracy's a good running back, but he doesn't have that juice that Cam brings. And Dart has no weapons, and it's going to hurt him.
Yeah, Breland, it looked like myself watching the game on TV, it looked like the Giants, as Lou said, not only deflated, but they ran completely out of gas in watching that injury and then not having him to truly set the tone against the Birds.
Yeah, I agree with you. But also, can we pause for a second? Because Lou throwing his head against the wall and banging his head against the wall as a compliment was insane.
That's excellent.
It's a compliment.
Anyway,
that's what he does.
Yeah. I know, but it's just who wants somebody to bang their head against the wall and use that as a compliment? Anyway, I fully agree. I think they were able to miraculously get away with losing Malik Neighbors and having that happen and still looked to be afloat. But this, I think, is the nail in the coffin for the Giants. And whether or not you thought it was a flash in the pan, regardless, that will remain to be seen because obviously we hadn't seen them run out of gas once this new duo got underway. But I just think they're losing too many, and as Lude said, they're losing the spark of this team in Cam Skattebo. So we wish him all the best, by the way. No one ever wants to see something like that. It was real gross to watch, but I was really happy to find out that the Eagles head of security, Big Tom, went over there with pizza and cheesesteaks and everything else. So wishing him all the best of luck and a healthy recovery. But yeah, really, really tough thing to see.
Yeah, I want us to bookmark that, right? Because all that we ever hear about Philadelphia Eagle fans or people around that team is how nasty and how brutal that they can be. And that may be true. Breland, but you do get that from Big Dom. I thought that was a true class act. So certainly shout out to the Eagles for being sure to get that done. Mike, you all in Dallas, we saw Dak Prescott's ankle turn the complete opposite way not too long ago in a game against the Giants. What kind of impact can this have on the team?
Well, first of all, to Breland's point, just as a human being, you hate to see this. And this is why I don't criticize, maybe I have a time or two, but I rarely criticize players for making the money that they make, because at any moment this can happen to them. Their life can change, their career can be over, their life can be affected in a dramatic way. Hopefully Skattebo recovers completely and goes on to have a great career. You know, as for the Giants losing that spark and, you know, the miraculous turnaround probably being down the drain now, that's probably the case. But last time I was on with you guys 3 weeks ago, you know, Lou was talking about, you know, it being time to see what Jackson Dart could do. And now you've seen over the last couple of weeks what he's capable of. So the Giants are going to be able to take some positive things from this season, though, I think, no matter how it plays out from here on out. But the Skattebo injury was traumatic, and I do think it's tough for a team to move past that.
I happen to agree with that. And speaking of injuries, another one in Washington, adding a bit of insult to that injury. The Commanders get crushed by the Chiefs on Monday night. Final score of 28-7. And news just came in that Terry McLaurin will be out of what looks like a must-win game against the Seattle Seahawks this week. So, Breland, I'm coming to you, home of the Birds here. I know you were worried about this Commanders team at the start of the season. Are you still have any worries at all about the Washington Commanders?
I mean, I don't know if I was worried.
You were scared, Breland.
I
Joey,
definitely
put that camera on me. Breland Moore was scared at the start of the season.
Okay, well, they were going to be the Eagles' greatest competition. I will give you that, Chad. That being said, I think if Jaden Daniels can't get healthy, number one, I mean, we love Marcus Mariota. He's a very nice gentleman. We had him for a short period of time here in Philadelphia. He's cooked, okay? And when the injuries just keep racking up for Washington, that's going to be costly. But Jaden Daniels is really the make or break piece here. I know that he is at least scheduled or anticipated to be back at practice this week, so that's a good sign. But when you then lose Scary Terry, it just, they have to remain healthy, and if they can't, I think there's no turning this around.
Yeah, and word out of Commanders camp here today, Jaden Daniels still listed as day-to-day at this point in time of us recording, which is on a Wednesday. So we'll have more of an update on that as the week goes by. Mike Ducey, are the Washington Commanders, are they still a team who could be in contention for the NFC East?
I think it's going to be tough, and you know you're in trouble when you're actually behind Dallas in the standings, and Washington is a half game behind the Cowboys in the NFC East. And I look at their schedule, you know, if you want to talk about playoff contention, assuming they need to find 7 wins somewhere, I don't see that happening with Philly twice, Denver, Detroit, not to mention the Seattle challenge coming up this week with the new injury concerns. I think the odds are stacked against Dan Quinn's group.
Yeah, and Lou, my thought on this is a game this week at home, you got Seattle, and then next week you got the Detroit Lions coming into town as well. Before a bit of a reprieve in Spain against the Miami Dolphins, I believe this team has to find a way, Terry or not, to win 2 out of those 3 games to then go on a magical run at the end of the season just to make it to the playoffs. What do you say?
I think it's going to be hard. Very hard. I personally think this weekend may have shown what the NFC East is going to be. Eagles pulling away, the other teams falling back. And unfortunately, the injuries to Washington, I liked Washington going in.
Yeah.
But Daniels, McLaurin, Samuel missing time. The defense is a lot weaker than we thought there was going to be. I think it's the Eagles' division, and everybody else is fighting for a wild card spot.
Yeah.
That's how I look at it.
And speaking of those injuries, in 2024, 14 of the Commanders starters started in at least 16 games in 2024. A complete reverse of fortune of those injuries here this year for the Washington Commanders. All right, Mike, the Dallas Cowboys, I told Breland, I told Lou, I told everybody who was listening that the Dallas Cowboys were going to go into Denver and smoke the Broncos last week. That didn't happen at all. So, Deucey,
You
I'm coming to
did?
you now. I did.
How'd
I
that
said
work out?
It didn't work out well. Okay, guys. Deucey, are the Cowboys closer to being a playoff team themselves or a team picking in the top 10 next year?
First of all, I haven't picked a Cowboys game correctly since week 2, so don't ask me what's going to happen next with the Cowboys. But I like the way you phrased this question, though, and it got me thinking about what are they more likely to be, a team that's drafting the top 10 or a team that's a playoff team. It'll probably be neither. They'll be in the middle there somewhere. I don't think they're
Mike,
going to be a
that's
playoff
no fun.
team. I'm not sure they'll
fun.
be bad enough to be in the. If I had to say, I would say they're more likely to have a top 10 pick. Okay, you
There you
happy?
go.
You satisfied?
There you
No, because I go back to the schedule. If Dallas has any hope of contending, making it the least bit interesting down the stretch in terms of a playoff chase, they have to win their next 2 games. Cardinals at home, then they got the bye, then they go to the Raiders. Because after that, and again, everybody in the NFC East obviously is playing the same non-division schedule largely, but they've got then the Eagles and the Chiefs and the Lions and the Vikings and the Chargers. So got to win these next 2 back-to-back. I don't see that happening largely because of this defense, which is just putrid. You know, Cowboys thought they were getting well against Washington, but the Commanders were so shorthanded. That was a mirage. Denver just ran wild on Dallas, 175 yards. They made Bo Nix look like Elway in his prime with 4 touchdown passes. He was not touched all day long. So, you know, the offense is going to be okay at home, especially. They're bad on the road, but I just unless they can win games 45-40 every week, they're just not going to be going anywhere.
Cardinals and Raiders win 45-40. Okay, I got you. I take from that what you said there. Lou, don't get me in the middle, closer to a playoff team or top 10 pick.
Top 10 pick. I mean, that defense is so bad. We knew the day that Russell Wilson threw all over him, and Russell Wilson couldn't throw a pass to his wife right now or his kids. Okay, you knew the Cowboys were in trouble. Their defense is so bad, and Denver just ate them up. And who are they going to be? Even if they win these 2 games, does it really matter? No, they're not. Top 10 pick. I'll give them 10. Put them right at 10. How's that?
All right, Breland, 2 for them being a top 10 pick. What do you say?
Absolutely not. That defense is horrendous. I think Mike and Lou pretty much said what needed to be said here. I mean, in very colorful languages here. But, yeah, they're horrendous. And Dak Prescott, in my opinion, as I said, he is a great to serviceable regular season quarterback. But every year there's somewhere in this season that he will turn into a pumpkin. 188 yards, 2 interceptions against Denver. Are we starting to see it finally? It's a little early. That usually happens, towards the back half of the schedule, but maybe it's starting already.
Breland Moore, I never thought that I would say that you were beginning to remind me of Stephen A. Smith, but right now, in this moment, with your vitriol towards the Dallas Cowboys, you're beginning to feel that way. I am going to hold out hope for the Dallas Cowboys. I still believe that Dak Prescott for MVP and they go on a run could potentially happen, but call me crazy. We're going to be right back with the
Crazy.
NFC Beast. We're going to give some midway point awards out to the teams around the NFC East. We'll be back. All right. We're at the midway point of the season. The best that you can now is 17 games. So we're going to give out some NFC East midway point awards. We're going to begin with the offensive MVP. Mike Ducey, you know who has mine. That's Dak Prescott. Who is your offensive MVP halfway through?
You know, I'm going to go with the guy who's the most important member of the offense for the best team in the division. I think it's as simple as that, and I think it's Jalen Hurts. Over the past half dozen games, as this team has dealt with some things off the field, he's been really good. 15 touchdown passes, 1 interception. I've always loved the guy's demeanor. I've always loved his leadership. As a quarterback, it's about winning football games. I'm sorry, that's what it comes down to. And Jalen Hurts figures out a way to get that done. So midway through, I go with Hurts as the offensive MVP.
All right, Breland. Mike Ducey just threw you an alley-oop there. You go ahead and give yours.
So you would think that I was picking Jalen, right? But the most valuable player, the player that your team cannot win without, I'm going to give it to Jaden Daniels here because I think his presence is the make or break for the Washington Commanders, whereas Tanner McKee is serviceable, and I do believe that this Eagles offense is talented enough without Jalen Hurts that they could win games. Now, obviously, he helps, and everything comes down to QB1, but I think in terms of make or breaking success, that's Daniels.
Oh, holy smokes. Fans here in Washington, D.C. will be a fan of that. And I think that Cam Newton is calling you right now. Lou, who's your offensive MVP midway through?
You can't be an MVP when you're not playing. And Daniels is not playing, so you can't be the MVP. I agree with Mike. Jalen Hurts, he's a winner. A winner. Win is win. Win is win. I'll take a winner for MVP, not stats. MVP should be MWP, most winning player.
Whoever thought that 2 out of the 4 of us would go with Jalen Hurts and neither of them would be myself or Breland. All right, those are our offensive MVPs. We'll switch to the other side of the ball now. Defensive MVP. Lou, you actually, despite the lack of wins, there's one in New York potentially in Brian Burns.
Brian Burns has had a good year, a very good year, a lot of sacks, although he's kind of slowed down. Wow, I don't even know, is there really a defensive MVP in this division, though? I mean, Dallas stinks. Washington stinks. Philly has a bunch of guys. I mean, Carter's a great player. I mean, I love Jalen Carter. Giants defense is so overrated. I swear to God, they build these guys up. Dexter Lawrence still hasn't played this year, I don't think. So, yeah, okay. Brian Burns.
There we go.
I don't like anybody. I think they all stink.
There we go. Had to talk you into it, Lou, but over or at 10 sacks already on the season for Brian Burns. He is having a dominant season, even if it's not equating to W's on the field. Breland, who you got?
I think I'm going to go Jalen Carter here because he is, by and large, the anchor to this Eagles defense. And you notice look at that Dallas game, the first one of the season. Look at the first game against the Giants here. His presence or lack thereof is extraordinarily noticeable, and this defense seems to struggle without him, and for good reason. He's the best player, I think, on this Eagles roster, period.
Sure.
And he deserves the MVP.
Yeah, at Jalen Carter, when the Philadelphia Eagles have him, they're able to stop the run, which really covers up a lot of those deficiencies in the back four that they may have. So Jalen Carter having one heck of a season. Mike.
Yeah, and I'm going to agree with Carter, kind of the same logic I used on the offensive side for MVP, the most impactful player on the best team in the division in terms of that particular unit. I know the Eagles defense has had its problems, but I go Carter. Honorable mention in terms of most impactful defensive player is the guy the Cowboys traded away. Just think where they would be if they hadn't traded Micah Parsons to the Packers.
They don't count.
Plus I like Cooper DeJean because he went to Iowa, and I'm a proud Hawkeye. So I'll put him in the running as well.
Mike, quickly, I want to ask you this. There's been a ton of talk about Dallas potentially trading for a pass rusher to replace, to the best of the ability of a Micah Parsons. Is that something that you're hearing is real? And if so, do you favor a move like that? I
don't think it's real. And I don't think I'd favor it either. I mean, it would be so ridiculous in my mind to trade Micah Parsons and then give up the assets that you acquired in exchange for Parsons just to go out and get somebody else who probably isn't as good as Parsons was in the first place when you had him here. Is it possible the Cowboys will make a move to try to bolster their defense? Maybe, but I don't think it's going to be one of these high impact. I don't see a Max Crosby deal getting done, for example, and watch that happen later this afternoon now. But I don't see that happening.
All right, those are going to be our mid-year awards here in the NFC East. Coming up, 4 big games being played this weekend. We'll tell you who wins. It's the NFC Beast. Four big games going down this weekend in the NFC East. We're here to talk about them right here on NFC Beast. We will begin with Dallas as the Cowboys are playing host to Arizona. Mike, we talked about this a little bit earlier on. In many ways, a must-win for the Cowboys. Do they get it done?
Cowboys have to win this game, as we said, and it's probably not going to matter ultimately in terms of playoff contention, but just to keep it kind of interesting around here, they need to win this game. They need to beat the Raiders. They've been good at home. Offense has been really good at home. I do think they win this game, although Kyler Murray, who it looks like will be back from the foot injury for the Cardinals, is 9-0 all-time in Arlington at AT&T Stadium. He played high school football here, college football at Oklahoma, and now with the Cardinals, so he's never lost. I'll say he'll lose for the first time at Jerry World this weekend.
Mike Ducey picking Dallas. Breland, what you got?
I'm going to go Arizona just out of principle. No, I'm kidding. These are two really struggling teams, and it's going to be a little bit interesting here. But Kyler Murray, maybe this is his get-right game. However, I do think it's going to be close because all of the Cardinals wins, all of the Cardinals games, period, have been decided within 7 points or less. So I think it's going to be a close one, but I'm going to go Cardinals.
Hey, talk about a quarterback who can be confounding at times. That is one Kyler Murray. Lou, Dallas playing host. They need a victory. Do they get it against the other birds?
Yes, they'll get it against the other birds. Prescott, the offense will bounce back after last week. Denver's a great defense. I think it's going to be a blowout. I think Dallas blows them out. Wow.
Big D's offense coming to the table, says Lou. I'm going to go with that as well. I think that the Dallas Cowboys win and continue to ride that momentum into the playoffs, starting with this victory over the Cardinals. Other game that we're taking a look at, New York Giants playing host to the San Francisco 49ers. We talked about it, Lou. No Cam Skattebo, no Malik Neighbors out there. Is there a chance for the Giants?
Doubtful. Jackson Dart, I really, really, really like, but he has no weapons. He has nothing now. Maybe they can run the ball a little, but I think McCaffrey runs all over this Giants defense who can't stop the run. I like the Niners. I don't see the Giants coming up big in this game. I think this whole season, the rest of the way, is all about Jackson Dart and development.
Breland, you saw this Giants team. They gave you a run in the first half. I know that, again, just like you were with the Commanders at the beginning of the season, you had to be feeling nervous. Any chance for the Giants this weekend?
I don't think so. When you give up 100 or more yards on the ground to not one but two players in a single game. That's really, really concerning. Shout out Tank Bigsby also. We haven't talked about him all season, and that young man had himself a day. I think to Lou's point, there's no weapons anymore, and McCaffrey is just going to have himself a field day.
Sure, and this is a San Francisco team coming up. Doesn't matter who's playing the quarterback for this team. Shanahan is going to have this offense doing what it needs to get done. I think that they run for 200+ against the Giants to knock off New York in New York again. Mike Ducey, your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm on the same page as you guys. I think McCaffrey has a huge game. I respect kind of the fight that the Giants have shown, but now with Skattebo gone, I mean, you just wonder if the spirit of this team isn't largely broken as well. But I see a big day on the ground for McCaffrey, and I see the Niners winning a game that might be closer than some expect, but I think San Francisco wins it.
So we're all on the Niners on this one. We'll check back in on that one next week. Other must-win game, Washington Commanders playing host on Sunday night as they're going to take on the Seattle Seahawks. Breland.
Jaden Daniels has to play in this, and if he's not ready to go, they're cooked. Marcus Mariota just can't handle it. Seattle is extremely talented. That defense is one of the best in the league, top 5, multiple categories. They need to be on their complete A game if the Commanders even want a shot, but I'm going to go with the Seahawks in this one, unfortunately.
Lou.
Sorry, Chad.
Even with Daniels, Seattle's too tough. I don't think Daniels is going to be ready at peak level yet, and without McLaurin, I give Seattle.
Mike Ducey.
Yeah, part of the reason the Seattle defense is good is DeMarcus Lawrence, a longtime Cowboy, whom they really miss this year. I'm going to assume Daniels is back, and I'm going to take Washington to defend the home field and figure out a way to win this game this weekend. It's tough for teams to go cross-country and win on the road like this if the two teams are close at all, and I think with Daniels they are, so give me the Commanders by that much.
Yeah, Washington Commanders riding a 3-game losing streak. One of the things against the Kansas City Chiefs, that defense especially did play better in the first half. Breland, to your point, the offense wasn't able to take advantage of it and get the early lead that the team needed. With Jaden Daniels back, despite no Terry McLaurin, this team is going to play like their season depends on it, because it very well may. Commanders win the game. Final game, and it's the big one, Philadelphia Eagles, Green Bay Packers. Breland, do you all get it done again?
Absolutely. Why not? Especially off a bye when everybody's going to be healthy and we've got people coming back. Also, by the way, don't know if you guys saw this, but the Eagles did just trade for a cornerback. They traded away John Mechie. Your cornerback is Michael Carter from the Jets there. This is reported, of course, it's not official. So they're getting a little bit of help in that secondary at a very vulnerable position. I think these birds are going to be in it for the long haul, guys.
All right, Eagles getting a little help. Lou, 10 seconds. Who wins?
I'm going to say Green Bay.
All right. He only used 3 of them. Jordan Love for the victory. Mike Ducey.
Give me Micah Parsons and the Packers of this game as well.
And I, too, am going to go with the Green Bay Packers to win this game, if for no other reason, just because I would love to finally be able to tweet at Breland Moore in a loss. That's going to do it for this week's episode of NFC Beast. We'll see you next week.